Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I am going to show you how I use my Cricut machine to cut out my patterns on cardstock and on PVC-free vinyl. Cardstock is what I use mostly when I'm going to be reusing a pattern over and over. And then the vinyl I use for larger, more complicated pieces that I only plan to make maybe one or two of. And yeah, let's see how it's done. Okay, so first thing I did was measure the width of the blade on my foil shears, which was about 1 millimeter. I think the foil shears take off a little bit too much, so I tried to get my pattern a little bit under 1 millimeter when I measured it after printing it out. So that meant, after a couple trials and errors, I settled on a 10 pixel line when working at 300 dpi. I like working at a higher resolution because it produces crisper lines. If I bump this down to 72 pixels per inch, then it's a poorer quality. So I like the higher resolution. However, and I'm using Photoshop, which is just what I've always used, and I draw my patterns with the different shape tools, and I use the pen tool a lot to get those nice crisp lines. So whatever design program you have, if you can change the resolution and you can choose what resolution you work at, you can change it to 300, and then your line width will want to be 10 pixels. However, if you don't know what resolution you're working at, or if you don't want to work at 300, the 10 pixel line equates to 0.85 millimeters, which if you go by millimeters, it's not going to matter what your resolution is. Okay, so anyways, I have my pattern all set, ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide the background, so there's no background on this pattern, and then we are going to save that image as a PNG file, which I already have. If you save it as a PNG, then it's going to save your file without the white background, so when you import it into the Cricut design space, you don't have to manually delete all that white space. Okay, so save that. Okay, now it's time to import into the design space. Now, you can do this with Cricut, with a Cricut machine, or if you have a Silhouette machine, it should work, or any other cutting machine, just as long as you know how your apps and your machines work. Okay, now I am in my Cricut design space, so I need to get the file imported. Let's go to New Project. We're going to go to Upload. I need to upload the image. Okay, I'm going to drag that. This is a simple image type. Continue. Now there's nothing I have to do here. I don't have to erase the background or anything. We are good to go. Apply and continue. So we just want cut image, upload. Now I can select it from my uploaded images, add to canvas. Now because I created this file at such a high resolution, it's huge on here, so you have to remember to resize it. We want the proportions locked, and my final image should be 8 inches high. So there we go. There we go. Everything looks good. Now I can save this to my files. Alright, that was pretty easy. Now I need to go grab my tablet and hook this up to my Cricut. Alright, now we are ready to print our pattern. If you plan to use the pattern multiple times, I highly suggest printing it on cardstock like I'm going to do now. I'm going to print it both ways just to illustrate. You might have to figure out what cardstock works best. I haven't used a lot of cardstock, like different brands, and I haven't tried the Cricut brand cardstock. I bought some plain white cardstock and it completely stuck to the cutting mat. It was a nightmare to get off. I still have residue on there. But I have found that this like metallic pearlescent cardstock does not tear apart on the cutting mat. Okay, let's go to my stuff projects. Here's my Lily of the Valley panel. We're going to make it on a cutting mat. Confirm. Next. Next. Better turn the machine on. I have, see, I cut a iris pattern out of here, so I'm just going to use the leftover scrap. Let's load it in. So it's all cut out. You can see when it did that last little border pass, it like got this, but this isn't, I don't need this. So it didn't mess up any of the pattern at all. So what I'm gonna do really quick is I'm going to number my pattern pieces so when I take them off, it's not a big jumbled mess. Sometimes you have to play with the pressure of the cutter. If it doesn't cut all the way through, you might need more pressure. Otherwise, oh, this one came off. Otherwise, you might just need to take your scissors and trim it a little. Alright, here we have our cardstock pattern ready to be used again and again. Okay, so that was printing with the cardstock. However, if you want to use the sticky vinyl, which helps cut down time and gets your pieces very accurate, I would highly suggest using this PVC free vinyl from ecofriendlycrafts.com. It's still technically vinyl, but it's PVC free, so it has less of an impact on the environment in production. I only use vinyl if it's a large, complicated piece that I plan to only make one of. Now, if I'm going to use a vinyl pattern, I am going to mirror it because I tend to use a lot of textured glass. So that means that I'm just gonna have to cut on the back side of all the glass that I choose. I'm going to trim off the excess paper so that I can use it again some other time. This part is so satisfying. Right, here we go. And once again, I will number all these pieces before I even start taking them off.